strange evolutionary process going on. But mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that.
Howdy everybody, welcome back for another episode of DCF Live, broadcasting to you guys from the DCF studio here on the south side of Chicago. It has been a crazy snowy week, Friday, February 4th, and we have another very special guest. We brought back Mrs. DeJesus. You guys know her, you love her, you enjoyed the shit out of her last week. Everybody requested her back, so we're glad to have her again. So today we're just going to hang out with you guys again, answer some questions, talk about what's going on here in the DCF studio, and hopefully talk about what's going on with you guys. So thank you guys for joining us again. Please feel free to ask away with any of your questions. Feel free to direct any questions directly at Brittany. She can handle anything. She's got good thick skin. So I see somebody mentioning... Somebody already mentioned, hopefully I won't be laughing for 20 minutes like last week with you. So, yeah, hopefully we'll save, you roasting any of my work for a future video.
I can't even, everyone calling me Mrs. DeJesus makes me feel, really old.
That's why I asked you. I was like, have you been called that? You know what I mean? Like, that has to take some getting used to.
It's fine. Just call me Brittany.
Yeah, that's got to take a little bit of getting used to. So let's go ahead and say hello to some people here in the chat. We have Justin, Ethan, Lucas, Carlos, Christy, Jacob, Prism. Thank you guys for joining us. Let's see what you guys are up to. I see a lot of people asking about... well, I saw one question about a gradient here. So WRC says, I'm going to do a sunset on the outside panels. What's the best way to blend the colors? So two ways you could go about it, doing with an airbrush or hand painting it. I always think that airbrushing a gradient is going to be a lot easier than with a paintbrush, but sometimes if you're just starting out or wherever you are, you might not be able to airbrush, so you might need to do it by hand, so that could be a little bit trickier. Brittany, have you ever airbrushed a gradient?
Yeah, I think it was oh god, I might be wrong, but I think they were it was an Italian flag or something.
Like that colorway, green to white to red or something?
It was like when we were in your mom's back room.
And you airbrushed it?
Yeah, well, you were trying to show me how to do it. Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
It was
hard.
It was hard.
Okay.
Because you have to get, the feeling for, that, what's that?
The trigger?
The trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was heavy-fingered. Is that right?
Okay, yeah. It's like the first time when you test drive, your first instinct is to press down on the gas all the way.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So your mom has to take you to a nice big parking lot because otherwise that could be trouble. So yeah, that's one of the first things when it comes to airbrushing that you need to get used to. But I see WRC here says hand painting is my option. So we did a video, I believe it was in September, and it's called how to blend colors by hand. So definitely check that one out if you haven't already. I follow essentially kind of the same principles if I'm doing a gradient by hand or by airbrush. Usually you want to do something called the middle bar technique. So you want to create essentially, if you're blending two colors, you want to introduce a third color, which is going to be an even mixture of your two colors. So you're creating a new color by mixing, let's say you're doing a gradient of green to red. Well, you're going to mix together, which would be a hard gradient to do because they're complementary colors. So you would mix the two colors together, 1-to-1 ratio, and now you have a third color. You lay that down in between them, and then you try to blend your two original colors on top of that. So that's, the middle bar technique, and I do that whether I'm airbrushing a gradient or I'm doing it by hand. And that's the best way to get a nice, really fluid, seamless blend type of gradient.
That was a lot of information.
Yeah. It's definitely worth checking out the video if you haven't already. I know we've done gradients are always going to be one of the most requested topics, video tutorials.
Yeah.
It's not easy to do with certain colors, if you're trying to blend tricky colors together.
Yeah.
Like for example, your complementary colors. So you have three sets of these. You have red and green, you have Christmas, you have blue and orange, you have the bears, and then you have yellow and purple. You have the Lakers, okay?
Yeah.
Now, 2 of those can be popular designs.
Yeah.
The Bears isn't necessarily a popular design. You're not going to see a ton of Chicago Bears customs, but you're going to see a lot of Lakers customs because of Kobe. So people are going to sometimes try to do a gradient with those, and you end up with this kind of weird orangish brown in between the 2 colors.
Yeah.
And that's tricky to blend.
That's a lot of, I can't, you lost me. You know, I'm a visual person.
Yeah, for sure.
So for people like me, just watch the videos.
Definitely.
Because like I've always been that way though.
Yeah.
In school and everything.
Yeah.
Like, no, I have to see it. Because
Right.
I'm just like, it's just like words are just getting jumbled in my head.
There's, I can't remember what we learned about in school, but there's like 4 types of learners or something, right? Like
Is there?
auditory,
Yeah, you're right.
visual.
Yeah.
Some people have to like write it down to
Yes.
learn it, and some people are like just by hand.
What are you?
know? I think I can't remember the term of it, but I just have a real good memory. So I see it.
Like you just see it. So
See
is
it
that
and memorize
visual
it.
though? Is that?
I guess you could call it that because it's like, okay, you know how the reason school wasn't challenging, in my opinion, is because you just look at the study guide.
Yeah.
If the study guide is the test, I can memorize the study guide.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I actually know the information.
Yeah. That's
You know what I
true.
mean?
You just memorize.
I just memorized that the mitochondria.
Are you understanding
No,
it?
no,
You're
I just know that the mitochondria is the, what is it? The powerhouse cell of the DNA or whatever, you know?
I don't think that's right.
It's whatever that is. So I can memorize that, but that doesn't mean I'm processing it and know
Right.
what it actually means.
No, I have to process it
Yeah.
and understand it.
Right. And then you retain it.
Yeah.
And then it matters.
Right.
So that's the right way.
Yeah.
I can just memorize a study guide.
You should have been a doctor.
No. God, no. God, no. Let's see here. What's a good camera to start out with for good content? Asked by Doc Flu Customs. Truthfully, there's a good chance, Doc Flu, that you're probably watching on a smartphone right now, and your smartphone can do a lot of stuff. So my recommendation for this is if you're looking to, get a camera, I think that you're better off waiting until your camera is like a intermediate level quality camera. Like if you just buy a $300 to $500 DSLR, you're going to get more bang for your buck just out of really learning how to use your iPhone or your smartphone because the cameras are so good nowadays. Whereas once you're willing to spend like $1,000 or so with something like a Canon EOS RP, that's when you're going to really, really get like a noticeable bump in quality. But if you just get something like a Canon M50 or something like that, I think that's like a $500 camera. It might be a little bit better than your iPhone, but not a significant jump. So so I just believe that it's worth it. Like if you get the Canon M50, at some point you're going to want to upgrade within a few years. If you take your content seriously, if your business is booming, you know that there's another level that you could reach just with higher quality glass. Whereas if you get a Canon EOS RP or a Canon EOS R, that's something that it's gonna last you for a decade worth. You know what I mean? And by then, there's a huge jump in technology again with smartphone cameras and just DSLR cameras in general. So that's my recommendation for people with cameras. Just stick with your smartphone until you're ready to go with a higher quality camera lens. Let's see here. Carlos says, with more customs adding actual sewing or replacing materials, do you have the urge to learn that and implement it into your business? I would love to learn it. It's something that I know for my own good. I need to take off like a month and really just practice it every single day. It's not something where it's like, okay, let me just go and throw a little bit of sewing onto some tongue tags at the end of a custom job that would be perfect, whether it's a team logo or a business logo or something like that. I know I need to carve out an entire month to really just practice it every single day. What do you think about like recon custom shoes versus like painted custom shoes? Like. What's your thoughts on them?
It's a whole. Oh, I love them. I think they look really cool. I mean, that's like you're building a shoe at that point. Yeah. Totally reconstructing and building a whole new shoe, which why I feel like it's a totally different realm of customization. Yeah. It's what hand painting and airbrushing and that's.
Do you think it's something missing from what we do?
I don't know if it's missing. Yeah. It's definitely something you can add. I think that would be cool to add to your list of things that you do. But I feel like that's kind of like a niche market too.
Sure.
You know, not everyone is all about like the leathers or like the snake prints.
Exotic skins.
Yeah, not everyone likes that. So, I don't know.
Another big jump in price too there, just because of the materials. It costs a lot more for some high quality snakeskin rather than just some paint in a snakeskin stencil.
Do you get a lot of requests for that? Like, do people ask you to do
that? No, so like you get something that I like to say to people is you get requested for the work you put out. So I don't put out recon work, so people aren't asking me for it. So if I put out a bunch of hydro dip shoes, people are going to request hydro dip shoes. True. If I put out a bunch of galaxy shoes, people are going to ask for that. Mm-hmm. So you need to put out into the world the work that you want to be doing, because that's what people are going to request, what they see on your social media. So a lot of times people are stuck in the rut of, man, I'm only doing these LV Air Forces, or I'm only doing these galaxy shoes, and I'm never getting to do anything like original or that inspires me.
Right.
You're going to stay in that rut or in that hamster wheel of just doing that stuff unless you start putting it out into the world. So even if you're like, hey, this is all people are ordering from me, that's a good time to say, okay, I need to do pairs for myself, or just do pairs for my portfolio, or do pairs quite literally for social media, and say, hey, this is me. I want to do this type of stuff, you know? So like I wasn't really getting requested a lot of portraits previously. But then as I started doing those, now people know that's a tool in my arsenal. You know what I mean? Or at least...
It's hard, though, to have people, like, request certain things like that so you can expand your, like, your book of things that you can do. Yeah. Yeah. But what's that saying? Until you spend money to make money?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I got a good one here. Sneaky Reeky Custom says, whose movies are better, The Descent or Hills Have Eyes? The Descent is in my top 5 favorite horror movies. If nobody's seen that before, watch that with the lights off. Don't even look up what the movie's about. Don't watch a trailer. There's a jump scare halfway through that movie that will...
What? Did I see that movie?
No, but you've seen me like watching it, and you're like, what is that?
Is that the cave movie?
It's a cave movie.
Oh,
so brief synopsis of the movie is that... I'm not going to spoil nothing. Brief synopsis, even though I said go into it knowing nothing, so I suck. But the brief synopsis is that I think it's 5 or 6 girls go cave diving, and they get stuck. And if you're claustrophobic, I'm not particularly, but I know that the consensus online is that it's like the most claustrophobic movie of all time. And... the behind the scenes, I'm so into behind the scenes documentaries of how movies are made, and that one is incredible because they make this movie feel like you're in this ginormous cave.
That sounds terrible.
But then when you actually see how it was made, and they just filmed it like in a studio and just formulated a few different rocks, different ways and stuff, it's incredible. Like, I will watch multiple hour-long documentaries on how movies are made. It is so cool. If there was a pipe dream of mine, like, of something that it doesn't even seem possible, I don't have the technical know-how to do so. Just in an alternate reality, I would love to, like, make movies. You know what I mean? Would love to. That'd be so damn cool.
I think that honestly, I can't say anything because I've never seen you try to make a movie, but I think that you would be really good at just talking about movies and like the history behind it and behind the scenes.
If I had the time, I would love to have another YouTube channel. Talking about movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And because I feel like you say that you would want to like direct a movie, but once like you start doing it, like, oh, I actually really don't like this. I think I just like knowing about movies. Yeah. You know, because the grass is always greener on the other side.
Sure.
But I do think that you do have a passion for talking about them.
Yep, definitely. The Hills Have Eyes movies I don't love. I don't love the original, the Wes Craven original one. The remake is a little bit better, and then I know I saw the sequel to the remake once. I don't love those movies. I like, if we're just talking hillbilly cannibal movies, I like Texas Chainsaw and Wrong Turn more than The Hills Have Eyes, but... we don't have to talk hillbilly cannibal movies today.
Will literally, he won't stop talking about it if we keep going on. So we got to change subject.
Definitely. Here's one that you can answer, Britt, from Zach. I think it's Duchesne. Mm-hmm. When are you doing a class next? I want to see up close. Should we announce some dates?
Should we?
You want to announce dates?
I guess we should.
Let's go ahead and announce some dates.
Okay. Well, and I had to look at my calendar because I forgot.
Go ahead. So just book the venue.
We did. Just book it. Yeah.
So
we are looking at... That was what we did for April 22nd through the 24th.
Yes. So the weekend of April 22, 23, and 24 here in Chicago, that will be the next DCF experience.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, we are hoping to have the spots open probably end of February, probably about 3-4 weeks away. That's when we'll have, like, there'll be a video announcement, the website will open up, and 15 spots. So 15 spots. So
I'm so excited. It's gonna be amazing.
It's
the venue that we picked this time around, it's beautiful.
We did. We upgraded venue big time.
Yeah,
big
it's
time.
Really nice. It's in the city, and there's a lot around there, and
merch is upgraded. The package that you get is upgraded. Yep. The curriculum is upgraded. We're going from 2 days to 3 days. Catering's upgraded.
The catering wasn't bad last time.
No, I know, but I'm just saying.
Nothing was bad last time.
No, it was a great time.
Now that we've had to do a first run to get a feel of it, and now that we're more comfortable with the courses and everything, like when I'm like, now we know what to do even better for next time. Yep. So I'm really excited. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
So pumped.
I'm so
pumped. Yeah. And I mean, this is just something that Brittany's been putting in a ton of the back end work and everything, and then real soon we're going to be really dialing in the curriculum and everything. And this is something that we're just both really passionate about, whereas like if we're just running this business and it's just order after order, Brittany's not as, this is something where
I can't really be that involved in that aspect, because you guys want Dylan's artwork, not mine. That's what you guys are paying for. Yeah. And in this sense, I feel like I can be more involved and make it more like my passion and like more about me and you. You know, like this is something we can both do together. Definitely, it's exciting.
So this is something that I just know we really want to give ourselves to, and we're just going to have to do less of other things to really give this our all, so that this is a bigger chunk of our business. And I see a good question here. The Wrecking Crew, are you as far along in your career as you would like to be? I think that I probably have surpassed, quite honestly, what I ever imagined this could be. Yeah. Never did I think I would be teaching a course. Yeah. Never did I think I would have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's crazy how many doors this
Never did I think that there would, you know what I mean? I just thought like, okay, yeah, cool. Maybe I can paint shoes for people and maybe start working with NFL people and go from $200 a pair to $300 a pair to $400 a pair, and go from doing 200 shoes in a year to 250 shoes in a year, and like just pump up the numbers all around. Right. But really expanding the business in all areas is what has made me the most proud and excited of where it's been able to go. So now realizing that I need to, in a way, close chapters and do different things for the betterment of the business, and knowing like, hey, if we're going to be hosting these courses 3 to 4 times a year, I need to do less of other things. Yeah, there's only so much to go around of yourself. You only have so much time, and hosting the courses and doing that is, just like quite literally helping people, and more so in person. The reason I haven't done an online course, because I know the in-person experience, there's nothing that beats that. Yeah. I know
it's doable, but there's
it's not the same.
It's really not.
It's not the same.
Yeah. And not only that, but then you're also building relationships with the other customizers there, which I loved seeing in the first course.
Definitely.
Everyone built their own relationship with everyone got more comfortable around the second day.
Definitely.
Everyone started mingling more and talking to each other more about their ideas and stuff. It was really cool. And it was like, you can't get that through streaming. Yeah. It's just not the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really cool for me to still see a lot of the artists from the first one still talk together and stuff. Mm-hmm. That's so cool to see. Yeah. So yeah.
I'm really grateful for everyone who came to that first course.
Definitely.
You know.
Definitely.
Sometimes when I see their names, when they order stencils,
if they order stuff,
I'm like, hey.
Yep.
It's cool.
And it's cool because in a way, like, I feel a lifelong, if these people paid to come to a course from me,
yeah,
I of course feel like a mentor to them.
Yeah.
So I want to see them grow.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so all of these people,
the relationship doesn't end at the course.
No, absolutely not.
And it hasn't. We really have stayed in contact with a lot of people. From
These
the
are
course.
people that I still want to stay in contact with and check in with them and still help them, you know, continue to grow on their journey.
Absolutely. And that's the best part about this course is too, it's like you get like that, you know, you build that relationship with you.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Yeah. Like, where else can you get that?
And one of the coolest parts, recently, Brittany and I were reviewing, like, the exit surveys that we did, just, like, the feedback. And, you know, it was anonymous so that people could give the truth about it. Yeah. And what was surprising to me is how many people said they would want to come back, not just for, like, a level 2, but to do the, you know, it's essentially like is beginner's course the right term? I'm not sure if that's the right term.
I don't really like saying that because...
Me either.
Because a lot of the people who did come
weren't beginners. No.
And even if I think there was like maybe one or two that were like legit a beginner.
Never painted a shoe,
still, like they did great.
Yeah.
You know, like you wouldn't be able to tell that they were beginners.
Right,
so
right.
They have some idea already of what it is and how to start.
So I'm not sure if it's good to call it a level 1 course or I don't know the best term, but a lot of people said they would come back.
We're paving the way, so it's kind of like it's whatever
we want it to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I'll be curious to see how many people are returnees that come back again.
Oh, I hope we have some because that'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. But I also am excited to meet new people too. So
Absolutely. Zena says, can you please tell us an estimate on how much it would be to do the course so I can save up? So once we cross all of our T's and dot all of our I's, we'll know exactly. But the course, as of now, I'm going to say $2,000. So that comes with literally everything provided. You get to take everything home.
Yeah.
So that's 2 pairs of shoes, an Air Force One, a pair of Vans. Mm-hmm. I can't even say the number of paints that you'll be able to take because it's going to be a huge amount of supplies. Brushes, you get an airbrush, a compressor that you get to take home, a ton of stencils. There's going to be a printout of our PDF guide, merch, box. There's a ton of stuff.
So much stuff you guys will be getting. I'm jealous.
Yeah. So 3-day event, 8 hours a day, so 24 hours worth. And just everything's provided, you know.
So you literally just come as you are, like just show up.
Don't need to bring anything.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about anything, especially if you're traveling. You know, you don't have to worry about bringing your own materials. So you don't have to worry about any of that.
Yep. Daniel here says, Britt, can you not throw out his Chelsea top sometime? He's in the UK. Daniel, who do you support? God. I can't remember. Are you a United fan? I can't remember. But that's a funny one. Scott says, where are you holding this course? It's going to be in Chicago. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be, we're going to have like hotel recommendations and everything. We're getting, we're calling around to a few hotels and making sure that we can get, hopefully a discount, you know, rent out a block. And because I know that we'll have a lot of out-of-towners.
Yeah,
so.
We did last time.
Yeah.
I think we had a few people that were local, but...
Yep.
Someone did ask if the venue requires you to be vaccinated, and I do just want to shed a little light on that. No, as of right now, but that can change.
Yeah.
I just want, you know, we don't know. We have no control over that, unfortunately.
Sure.
So, for right now, the answer is like, no, you don't have to be vaccinated, but you do have to wear a mask in the common areas of the building. Yeah,
just walking through. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but...
So we're vaxxed.
We're vaccinated.
We have kids.
We have children.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys
we're not,
know that.
You know, we're not trying to be reckless.
No.
You know?
Absolutely not. Yeah. And I'm not saying, like, if you're not vaccinated, you can't come.
Right.
That would never say that.
Sure.
But, you know, we are cautious. We do take that seriously.
Definitely. Okay, yeah, he is a United fan. We just lost in Pens to Middlesbrough in the FAC. Oh, boy.
I don't even know what any of that means. Gibberish. Just gibberish to me. But if you want me to hide it, I'll hide it. I mean, I'm okay. That's fine.
Oh, man. And then I see some other good banter here. Canary Kid here. Don't you love watching United go out the cup? So he's a Chelsea fan, too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oscar's the one who did the Remember I showed you the Chucky shoes for Halloween?
Oh, yeah. Those are cool.
Yeah. So
those
he's a
really
Chicago
cool.
guy and a fellow Chelsea supporter.
That's awesome.
Keep the blue flag flying high, baby. John, let me, I know you asked this question earlier. Let me read the longer one. John here says, thanks for taking the time to teach. Can you give some tips on building the business, getting more looks and clients? Thanks. So, John, really what I think is important for this is it's just about getting in front of as many eyes as possible. So, what can you do to get new people to see your work? Well, the free option is social media, of course, you know what I mean? So posting constantly on Instagram, TikTok. I know it's hard to do, but I think more and more people need to do YouTube Shorts. Now the barrier to entry is even less. I think, not that they're... I think trying to do in-person events, if possible, is really good. Like, how often were we doing sneaker cons and sneaker conventions back in the day? 4 or 5 a year, right? For a good 3 or 4 years straight.
I felt like it was every other week. Oh my God, it was so stressful.
We probably did 15 or 20 of them.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
It just seemed like it was stressful because of all the shoes we had to pack up.
Yep. But how good was that for business?
It was so good.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yep.
And that's how you built relationships too.
Yep.
That's how you got your name out there because people would ask you like, what is this?
Yep.
What are you doing here? Or people would already know you after a while.
Yep.
It was cool.
Yeah. There's some like law in business, some, imaginary law that like somebody has to see your work. Somebody has to like see a business like 7 times before they're willing to purchase from it. Something like that. And it kind of makes sense in a way.
Yeah.
That like you see someone, you see their work. Okay, cool. Scroll past it. You see it again. Okay, cool. Maybe I'll follow it.
There's
see it
so
again.
Many times
Maybe
that's how like Instagram and Facebook gets me every time.
Yep.
That's how I buy stuff on there all the time.
Right.
Like,
So
I saw it. I'm like, whatever.
Yep.
See it again. I'm like, okay, now I need it.
Yep. So with ads, I mean, we have a family friend who runs a sneaker accessories company who does a ton of Facebook ads.
Yeah.
And he's someone who told me about this, that, sometimes you have to run an ad 7 times that's when people are much more likely to purchase. They see it, and then they're like, oh man, do I want that? Nah, okay. Yeah. Then all of a sudden they see it's on sale. Oh, let me buy it now. You know what I mean? So
I see his ads all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wish I had a pair of those. Because they're cute. That's a really good concept. It's a cool concept.
Yeah. So just getting in front of more eyes is the most important thing. And then the hardest part is staying consistent with your content. So really
that's
trying
the hardest part.
Yeah. Really trying to plan out how can I get the most out of this? And it's easy to say, oh, just go post every single day on Instagram. That's not always possible. You know what I mean? So how can you maximize what you actually have and stay consistent? So how can you look at things in terms of maybe a 3-month window? How can I post on Instagram twice a week for the next 3 months? Let me actually plan out how I can do that. So that means there's going to be 12 weeks, roughly. And if I'm going to post 2 times a week, maybe 1 video and 1 photo, just throwing it out there, that means I need to have 12 photos and 12 videos. How can I actually do that? Do I have enough work right now? And I think a lot of people are afraid to recycle old content. Well, over time, you're going to go from 100 followers to 500 followers. So when you posted work at 100 followers, that chunk of 400 people that found you over the next couple of months might not have seen all of your posts at 100 followers. So you can recycle that content and post it again months down the line because people didn't see your work. And even nowadays, with the way the algorithm works, even if you have 100 followers, when you post a piece of content, not all 100 are going to see it. It might only be 30. It might only be 20. It might be 75. So then when you post that again, months down the line, now maybe a larger percentage of that 100 that didn't originally see it again. So just finding a way to stay consistent with your content and putting out high quality content is going to be just huge for you. So what do you think how would you, if you were starting a business, what would be the hurdles for you to posting consistent content? as somebody who doesn't have a background in photography, in marketing, like what seems like the biggest hurdles to you? I know you're on the spot here.
Well, I kind of feel like you also have to be really creative to come up with stuff like that.
Like content?
Yeah, content.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's where I struggle. It's like, oh, I'm not really all that. So I see people post, like, you know, on their Instagram stories, and I'm like, oh, that looks really cute. I'm like, how did they do that?
Yeah.
My main thing would be like, okay, where do I start? Are there, like, apps I can use that I can make this look cooler? Or, you know, I'm not really good at taking, like, the best pictures either. So then I'm like, ugh, then I get self-conscious. I'm like, oh, I don't want to post this. This isn't going to look cool.
Sure.
You know? Versus, like, you look at someone like your Instagram, it's like, everything looks amazing. And I'm like, then I would feel, like, defeated a little bit. And, like, I don't know where to begin.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's... I think that every time I see people, when they start up a new business or, you know, trying to get their stuff out there, I've noticed that a lot of times they post Instagram stories that have nothing to do with what they're promoting. They're just like, hey, so, like, what do you like better? Do you like this color or this color? And, like, they'll post, like, a poll, and then they'll, like, talk about that, or, like, they'll just, like, talk about the most random things ever.
So do you not like that?
No, I love that because it makes them seem more personal.
I thought you were going to say you don't like that, because I was going to completely disagree.
Because no, I like it because then it seems more personable and more relatable.
Absolutely.
And then I'm like, hey, what is their business about? Like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
I see a lot of people do, especially who have podcasts, you know, that are about parenting, and then they'll post on their Instagram stories about, like, their favorite restaurant, or like, oh, I bought this makeup today, I loved it.
Yep.
I'm like, wow, you're just a real person just like me. And then I get more interested. So, in that sense, I'm like, okay, maybe it's not always just about pictures.
It's not. Yeah. So what's cool about this is Brittany unfortunately doesn't watch every single one of my YouTube videos. So she doesn't know about all this stuff I talk about. But that's something that I've talked about a lot, to try to insert a little bit of personality into your business. Yeah. Put a face to the brand.
Yes.
Now, that can mean quite literal. Show your face. Yeah. Some people don't want to show their face. Yeah. That's okay. But just putting a face to the brand is be more than just a painted pair of shoes. Yeah. In this niche. You know what I mean?
Because then it gets a little boring.
It does. And then it's just, you don't feel connected to them in any way. So for many, many years, you know, I didn't post myself anywhere. It was just the shoes. It was totally the mantra of let the artwork do the talking. Yes. You know? And when it comes to the Instagram story stuff, I was worried you were about to say no, because I actually have seen through my own data and just from researching a lot of this stuff, when you post those little things like polls on Instagram stories, your engagement goes way up. Yeah. The amount of views you get on your stories goes up because the engagement's higher. Yeah. If I just post a photo that just says Monday with my coffee, it's not necessarily going to get as much engagement.
But, like, sure. Not as, like,
maybe if they see that I put 17 pumps of sugar in my coffee, they'll say something. I don't. But, like, how else are you going to get? What are you giving people to interact with that? Whereas if you post a poll, now the amount of people that are going to be clicking yes or no, blue or green. Yeah. Now the data is telling Instagram, hey, people like this story, show it to more of their followers. You know? Yeah. So doing those little things on Instagram stories, polls, Q&As, quizzes, all the little sticker icons that represent engagement somehow, the little slider for how much do you like this, do those things. Yeah. Do those.
I like those.
Yeah. And just putting a face to the brand and showing your person, like, I post what movies I'm watching all the time. And I swear, sometimes those get the most engagement.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they're like, oh, wow, he likes scary movies.
Right.
I never would have guessed
that.
Right.
Or, like, I think I probably the most replies I've ever gotten to an Instagram story was I posted that I was just watching Predator, and I put that this was a perfect movie. Yeah. Have you ever seen Predator with Arnold? Okay, so it's a perfect movie. And literally, just, like, hundreds of DMs of people like, yeah, that's an absolute classic and stuff. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that gets people to, like, I want to respond to this. Right. I want to talk to him about this.
Because it's relatable.
It's relatable, you know, so.
And someone like me who's, like, not very active on social media, when I see stuff like that, I even find myself engaging because it's like, oh, you're a person too? Yep.
So JB Custom says, I don't want to show myself for privacy reasons. Is there anything else that could take that place? Absolutely. Like, just, you don't have to show yourself. I mean, look at Banksy.
Like Daft Punk.
Yeah, Daft Punk, but
Marshmallow.
just
Does he show his face?
I don't think he shows his face. Yeah.
Sia.
For a long time, Rey Mysterio in the WWE, he was my favorite wrestler. He didn't show his face. He wore the luchador mask.
Yeah.
But just insert your personality. Just be a little bit more than a painted pair of shoes, because at the end of the day, that's just not.
You can even post like a clip of something that you're doing without you talking or showing your face. Like, you know, like
definitely.
Like people post like videos of them just walking into a store or something. I
Yep.
mean, like that's
showing
not
your
cool,
shoes.
but like,
yeah.
You know, it's just something like along
not
those
like
lines.
feet pics.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
like a clip. Like, oh, I don't know. Like
Yeah.
even like you actively painting a shoe, or you actively getting your things ready to paint a shoe.
Show your studio.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yep.
I love those.
Yep.
I want to see your space.
Definitely.
I'm nosy. I want to know what it looks like.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally get not wanting to show your face. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that.
That's so cool and so mysterious.
Exactly. You could do it. You could do it in a cool way.
Now I want to see your face.
Yep. Yep. Carlos here says, when did you decide to go from the 1 ounce bottles to the jug paints? So Carlos, funny enough, I almost right away, essentially, because I bought the 1 ounce bottles when I was first starting out because I wanted to get multiple colors. And yeah, it's a lot cheaper to get the 1 ounce bottles. But I very, 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 very quickly realized that you get way more bang for your buck as you start buying the larger quantity. So I think like going from the 1 ounce bottle to the 4 ounce bottles, it's twice as much in terms of price, but it's 4 times as much in terms of quantity. So when you're starting out and you're trying to prove that this is profitable, those types of things matter. And then when you go from 4 ounces to pints, again, I believe it's twice the price, but 4x the quantity. So that can go a long way.
Yeah.
So just the price difference going from 1 ounce of paint to a pint of, from 1 ounce of paint to a pint, you're going to get 16 times the quantity for, I believe it's 4 times the price. I believe that's right.
Weren't you at first just buying the jugs and like the colors that you're using the most, like neutral colors?
Yeah. So I would buy the larger ones.
No one, because
yeah.
you knew you were going to use a lot of that.
Like your
versus
red,
like a
your
Tiffany
blue.
box blue, like you're not going to use it all the time, so you're not going to buy a jug of that.
Definitely.
But like your reds and like your blues and
Definitely.
primary colors.
Your primaries, for sure. So yeah, just being a little bit of a math nerd, it just made sense to me right away to, okay, cool, I can save money. I can increase my profits by doing this. So you can't necessarily do that when you're just starting out on a budget, but as you start to be like, okay, cool, yeah, I'm getting some orders, I'm making a little bit of money doing this. Here's a way that I can start to, increase my bottom line. Tanner Mooney here says, when it comes to reposting content, would you delete the old posts? No, I wouldn't. And something else you could do, Tanner, is let's say you were having, let's just call it a photo shoot for a pair of shoes. Okay, so.
Oh, God.
Let's say I have a Rockets pair of Jordan 1s here. What I want to do is I want to have multiple posts for this pair of shoes. So I want to capture it from different angles. So let's just say let's just say theoretically, I want to create 3 Instagram posts for every single shoe I do. Well, let me actually try to capture 5 or 6 so that I can keep an additional 2 or 3 for down the line. So that's something that I would recommend doing. Always shoot more content than you need, just so you have a nice library for yourself for future use. And, it's also just flat out not bad to, if you didn't do that and you're limited in terms of what you have archived from your old content, you don't need to delete it or anything. Nobody's going to be mad of them seeing it again. That is what I would say. Tons of great questions in here, guys. If we don't get to them, please feel free to ask them again, and we will absolutely try to get to yours down the line. Johan, I believe it's Johan's here, says, question, how do you do it when you have clientele or sneaker cons from where you are from? So I think you might be asking, like, what's the ordering process with the sneaker con? Do you think that's what the question is?
How do you do it when you have no clientele?
When you have clientele or sneaker cons from where you are from?
I'm assuming you're asking how you do it.
Yeah, so like how do you handle orders from a sneaker con? So the way that I've always done them is I've said, okay, I'm going to use this table as a presentation display, as a gallery. You know, I'm not necessarily trying to sell any of these shoes. I'm just using these as display pieces. Yeah. So it's good to create display pieces for yourself to have in your studio, in your backgrounds of your videos, to show for sneaker cons, or if people are ever coming by your place or your studio and you want to show off some of your work, it's good to have display pieces. Mm-hmm. And so that's how I always treated sneaker cons. So people would come up, hey, I like these. How much would it be? Okay, cool. Here's how we could do the deal now. You can place your order right now and we can handle payment through one of the apps, your PayPal, your Zelle, your Venmo, your Cash App. Yeah. Or hit me up down the line. Here's my business card as soon as you're ready to place the order. Mm-hmm. So the goal isn't necessarily let me get a ton of sales today, but let me drum up future business and get myself in front of more eyes and let people see my work in person. Because it's very different seeing it on Instagram on a tiny screen versus seeing it in person and holding it and realizing, okay, cool, this is actually worth what he's willing to, what they're charging. You're doing a lot of talking, basically, the whole time. Yeah, you are. A lot of talking. You are. You're selling. You're a salesman that day. Yep. Oz Custom says, what platform would you advise to sell on? Is Etsy okay to sell on? Etsy's okay to sell on as long as you're not trying to sell any copyrighted designer brand stuff. So you can't post an LV or a Gucci drip Air Force One on there. But if you're posting original work or things like that, you'll be totally fine. Yeah. I think having your own website is a great idea. Highly recommend that. And if you're just flat out trying to drum up sales, I think being on all of the platforms, Etsy, eBay, even posting on, your local, your Facebook groups, like just let more people see your work. Mm-hmm. And like with eBay and Etsy, you just increase the chances that you might come up in search terms with organic traffic. So if somebody types in custom sneakers, who knows, maybe they're able to find you on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 17th page. So it doesn't hurt. I'm always surprised with how many people find your stencils on Etsy that aren't through other avenues. Like YouTube? Yeah, like they're just like random customers are using it for other things other than shoes. Absolutely. So there's a lot of that. Yep. Let's see. There's a lot of questions. Yeah, tons of great questions, really, guys. Let's see here. Leaderboard Customs. How you doing, buddy? Says, at what point did you feel it was the right timing to increase your pricing? So something to think about here when it might feel like a time to increase. Sometimes it's a gut feeling, that like, man, I'm charging $200 to $300 per pair, and it's still taking me 3 days to finish a pair that I'm only making $200 on. Okay, cool. That's not enough. So, and there's no way for me to just slash my process in half. So I can't just do this in one day for me to put out the quality stuff. So now it's time to increase my pricing. And a real good indicator of if it's something of when it's time to increase your pricing. This is something that barbers say a lot. If you're too busy, you're too cheap. So if you're constantly that's a really good point. Busy, if you always have a long wait, if you just have a never-ending cycle of people spending $200 a pair that you can never catch up on, you can never get ahead on, you can never carve out time to do anything else, it's probably time to increase those prices. Yeah. And even if you don't feel that, it's always a good idea to, have your annual, might be time to raise up 10% or so in terms of what you charge. You know what I mean? Just in general, even with long-term clientele. And this is something that I've struggled with and tried to deal with. I have a lot of clients that I've worked with for years. Years. This is something we talk about a lot. Yeah. I have clients that started working with me when I was charging $200 a pair. Yeah. Now it starts at $1,000 plus. So what are they being charged? You know what I mean? Yeah. And so you don't just want to stick at the same pricing forever. So you want to just naturally gradually increase a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
And then if you run into that situation of okay, cool, over a span of a few years, I really raised my prices and I have some clients that I've been working with for a long time, just have that conversation with them. You know what I mean? If they want to continue to work with you, hey, maybe they're not willing to go to that from 200 to 1,000, but maybe they still want to work with you. So maybe they're able to meet you somewhere in between and you want to keep that relationship, then you can have that discussion. But it might just be a tough discussion that you need to have, but you can't just, if you go from 200 to 1,000, you can't just continue to work in that $200 price range because they were grandfathered in, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. Scott Tracy says, I've seen some customs on Poshmark and Marketplace. Yeah, post them on Poshmark, post them on Mercari. What are the other ones, Britt? You use them all.
Those are the ones I use. Poshmark, Mercari, OfferUp. Yeah. Facebook Marketplace. And
Craigslist if you're feeling spicy.
If you're feeling risky. Yeah. Is that even a thing still?
I do not know.
You might have just showed your age with that one.
Yep. I would be sad if Craigslist isn't a thing.
I don't think it is. I don't know.
Let's see here. Jonathan, I see it says, hey, Dylan, I have a question a couple times. Please feel free to ask it, Jonathan. We will try to get to it. Brandon Fox here says, I'm going to my first sneaker con. Should I bring shoes to sell, or is it a show and tell and give business cards? You can absolutely bring shoes to sell. The thing that makes that difficult is if we just talk about men's shoe sizing, standard, you're going to go from 8 to 13 shoe sizes. So you have 8, 8.5, 9, 9.5, 10, 10.5, 11, 11.5, 12, 12.5 is not a common size, so 13. So just from 8 to 13, you have 10 pairs of shoes. So let's say you were trying to sell a cool pair of Jordan 1s that you made in size 10 because that's the most common men's shoe size. 10 and 10.5 are your two most common ones. So if you're just picking one to give yourself the best chance of it selling, now you have to, let's say you painted a Joker pair of Jordan 1s, size 10. You have to hope that somebody who's a size 10 wants a pair of Joker themed shoes. Whereas it might be somebody who's a size 8.5 who loves those, but they can't wear the 10. And they're willing to pay the price, but they just can't get there.
There was a lot of people that were like, I need these right now.
Yeah.
That were trying to buy things from you.
Always. And I said, no, I want them as display pieces.
Yeah, you had to. Because once that shoe's gone, it's gone.
Exactly.
You know, like it's not cheap to buy shoes and just customize them for, you know, that's what they're for. The purpose was for display.
Yep. And so you pass out business cards and then you say, here, I can make you something else. You know what I mean? So that's the way I've always treated it. There was one time, this was when like the Galaxy craze was still popular. This is before the Air Force One and Jordan era. So I painted 4 pairs of Jordan 6s with a Galaxy theme. And I was selling them for a very reasonable price. I want to say like $450. The shoes, I mean, the Jordan 6s were probably $200. So I painted, I think 4 of them. I think 2 10s and 2 10.5s. And I was like, these are going to sell at SneakerCon. I'm going to sell all 4 of these. I think I only sold 2 of them. I think I still have 2.
Damn, really?
Yeah, I think so.
That's pretty good, though, still. Like, you still sold. I mean, I still feel like that's a very niche thing. Like, not everybody likes Galaxy.
Absolutely.
So I think you did pretty good.
Absolutely. And we got a super chat here from Chaos. I believe that is custom, says Toothpick Gang. Shout out to you, Chaos. Really appreciate you supporting the channel like that. That means a ton to us. Chaos, you let us know what that is, and we just want to say.
How do you when you're trying to get someone to read it properly, when you spell it out, like, what is that called?
It's not enunciate.
No.
It's not enunciate.
There's a word for it.
To spell it out. Phonetically?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And someone said that Craigslist is definitely a thing. I saw.
Oh, good. But thank you for that super chat, Chaos.
Thank you.
Really appreciate that.
I just want to say your name right. Sorry.
Really appreciate that. So, do you guys chatting back and forth in the chat, answering each other's questions? You'll love to see it.
Just like it's all little letters. Yeah. I don't know how you can read that. I need glasses.
Michelle Revis or Revis. I actually went to Revis High School and it was called Revis, but I know it's usually said Revis, so not sure if it's Revis or Revis. Anyways, has a question here. If you use Disney characters, Pokemon, anime, etc., do you have to worry about licensing, or is it okay to use them in your design? So, the way that I try to answer this one is that the most important thing is that it's presented and remains as fan art. So when you can get in trouble is when it looks like it's mass produced. So, Disney characters, let's say it looked like you were painting 100 pairs of Snow White Vans. And it looks like something that could actually be a collab or a release between Disney and Vans. That's when you enter into the gray area where you present brand confusion, is what they call it, and what they don't want. They don't want regular Joe Schmo scrolling social media to think that this is an official release. But when it's presented as fan art, this is one-of-one stuff. This doesn't look like something that would be released by Disney or Vans. That's when you're fine. You know what I mean? So it's tough because there's not a black and white answer here. A lot of this is very gray area stuff. Like, for example, something that's not too far off from your question is talking about sports teams and licensing. A lot of NBA teams, a lot of NFL teams are totally fine. They work directly with customizers. We've worked with multiple NBA and NFL teams, sold stuff inside their stadiums, but yet you take a look at an organization, I believe, or a company like the NCAA, they have shut down customizers' Instagrams from people posting.
Really?
Yeah, in Oregon, Jordan 3. I had my Facebook deleted from Ohio State.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. So it's something where, all you can really say is be careful and try to present it as fan art. That's, sort of the best advice.
I think that's pretty good advice because this whole customizing thing, it's still very new and very nobody knows how to really handle it in that sense.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. There's not clearly defined precedent.
Right.
In terms of law, I was right. Phonetically. People are saying phonetically.
Phonetically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Where do you get your base shoes from? Stockx, Nike, etc. I see a few people ask. So, yes, StockX, GOAT, eBay, Nike. I was banned for years on Nike for 5 years. I am unbanned. Update. I purchased from them a couple things for Christmas, probably because I have a different address. I think that the address was blacklisted. That's the results that I came to, because when I originally couldn't buy from them.
5 years to figure that out.
Yeah, I tried using my brother's credit card, under a different name, but because we had the same billing zip code, billing address, whatever, weren't able to make any purchases. Anyways, I can buy on Nike again, which is good, but you can't get a lot of the stuff, customers are trying to get your white Jordan 1s and things like that. So for certain Jordan 1s, yeah, we need to go through StockX, eBay, GOAT. I just did a 17 pair run for Christmas, and I purchased them all through GOAT. GOAT was a little bit cheaper than StockX. And I know some people have had, there's a very small percentage of people who have had some unfortunate circumstances with things like StockX. I've seen it pop up on your Nice Kicks, your Kicks on Fire, where they got sent replica Travis Scott dunks and things like that. But just in terms of buying your white Jordan 1s and whatnot, you hopefully shouldn't have too big of an issue. And hopefully soon enough, we'll get a restock on some white Jordan 1s so that we can buy them for a little bit more of a reasonable price, get them closer to 100 rather than 300. So yeah, it's unfortunately just, it should be so easy for customizers, you know what I mean? And I'm not even saying all customizers should have access to wholesale pricing or anything like that, but we should be able to buy white shoes at retail pricing easily. It shouldn't be hard for us to get white Jordan 1s or white Air Force 1s in whatever size we need, but unfortunately it is. So we have another super chat here. Thank you so much, Doc Flu Custom says, appreciate all the training, Master Sensei. Thank you for that. Really, really appreciate you supporting the channel like that. That truly means a lot to us, guys. Thank you. Carl Pendle here says, great job on here. Not sure about your Chelsea t-shirt. Being an Arsenal fan, hydro dipping seems very risky to do when I've seen a lot of mistakes. Seems better to spray paint. An Arsenal, a gunner. Tough window for you guys, but But about the question, hydro dipping seems very risky. Seen a lot of mistakes. Seems better to spray paint. So I actually would really not recommend spray painting in almost any situation. Spray paint's a lot thicker than acrylic paint. It's much harder to control your flow. You're really going to affect the durability. So when it comes to hydro dipping, we did a hydro dipping video probably about 2.5 years ago where I did it on a pair of Vans, and I did the spray paint method. This wasn't with the hydro dip film. I did a wear test with them and everything, and they held up fine. So it worked good. I actually had like a really bad fail in the beginning of the video because I took too long. So that's a cool video to check out. I know some people have done... there's a lot of other videos that you could see of people using the film and stuff. It's not going to work as well on leather shoes, even if you prep them. But yeah, that's what I would say about hydro dipping. Works better if you wanted to do maybe some canvas shoes like Vans or something like that. Michelle here says, awesome information. Thank you. It is pronounced Revis. Not Revis, I believe. Didn't know there was a high school named Revis.
No, it's pronounced Revis, not Revis.
Okay. With the two E's is Revis, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a football player who spells it like this, and it was said as Revis.
Oh,
so,
okay.
One of those things.
Do it phonetically.
Yeah, right? I think I'm trying to think of who the high school was named after. Like I want to say there was an important figure in history, but I can't remember like John A. Revis or anything like that. I can't remember. Well, John A. Revis in this case, because that's what the school was called. Don't remember. Let's see. Jonathan says, I'm working on a pair right now. I got a little bit of red paint on the midsole on an Air Force One. How can I remove that? So the couple things that you want to do here, Jonathan, is... if the paint's dried up, you can first scrape it off with a toothpick. So you just rub your toothpick right along it. And then after that, another thing that you could do is dip a Q-tip in some acetone and rub it off like that. So those are the two things that you can do to get any paint off your midsole. And you should be fine. With I think you said it was just a little bit of paint. Yeah, so you might have got a little bit of paint underneath your tape, something like that, or maybe just ended up with some paint on the midsole from applying with the brush or whatever the case is. And yeah, so it's not too bad of a cleanup. So if it's dried up paint, scrape it right off with a toothpick basically, and then a little bit of Q-tip and acetone. All right, guys, we will go about 10 more minutes here. 10 more minutes here today. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of DCF Live. Let me know if you see any, Britt.
I can't even read them.
It's hard to keep up, right? You're a little further away, too.
Yeah,
the chat's smaller.
It's really small.
Scott Tracy here says, I was thinking about renting a kiosk at the mall and customizing on the spot, as well as selling pre-customized products as well. Has anybody else tried this marketing strategy?
Seen that.
You've actually seen a customizer?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was when I went to Florida.
Oh, at Disney. Somebody was painting Disney vans in Disney.
But it wasn't in Disney. It was like where the shopping area was.
Okay.
What was that called? I don't know, whatever. It was part of Disney, but not really.
Are you saying when I was there?
Yeah, you were
We
with
saw
me.
the girl painting Disney shoes.
She was outside painting Disney
Yeah.
vans. She was painting on vans. Or Tom's. Whatever.
Tom's.
They're the
It
same
was
thing,
Tom's.
basically. Yeah, and it was really cool. Everyone was surrounding her. Everyone was watching her, what she was doing. And yeah, it was cool. People were really interested. And I'm especially Disney, when you're on Disney property.
Come on.
Are you kidding me? I even wanted a pair. And you freaking paint shoes.
3 times when people have no budgets. Weddings,
Yeah.
funerals, Disney.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
So I can't even imagine how she got that because of like the licensing aspect.
Because she was outside of an actual store. I think she was.
It was like outside of a Disney store.
Yeah, and they must have hired her just to like get more customers. I don't know.
So it was like the same type of kiosk where you would go and get your face painted.
Yeah.
Or a tattoo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not a real tattoo, a
like
kid's tattoo.
One.
Yeah. super curious how she, licensing.
I know,
what
we
the
should have
rent.
talked to her.
We tried, but she was busy.
Yeah,
I wanted
she
to
was really
talk to her
busy,
because obviously
Yeah,
I was going to ask her,
That was like 5 years ago.
I think 17, yeah. 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, would that be a good idea? Absolutely.
That's a really good way to attract customers.
It's going to depend on the cost. How much does it cost to rent a booth?
Yeah.
That is something that I absolutely, I thought about it for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, is this something that I would want to do? But I knew that I didn't want to work there every day. I didn't want to work in the mall from 10 to 8 or whatever, because I like working in my studio, kind of doing my thing. I just knew that that wouldn't be an option. So I was kind of considering, like, in a way, just having it as a display and people could purchase, but hiring someone else to kind of run the booth. But then it also wasn't me, so people, of course, wouldn't naturally feel as comfortable. They'd want to talk to the artist. Mm-hmm. So it just didn't work perfectly for me.
Yeah.
But that's something that could absolutely work. A few things to consider is what's the demographic of the mall.
That's true.
Where in the mall are you going to be placed?
And what are you painting?
What are you painting?
Are you going to have shoes displayed?
Yeah, well, you
But
need
you know
to.
what?
You need to have shoes
You know what's
displayed.
really cool about this, though? It's like, why not? Why don't you be the first one to do that?
Yeah.
No one else is doing that right now. Why not? I've never seen it in the mall.
Yeah, like
Do
just
it.
in a regular mall. Yeah. Imagine if you could get the kiosk close to the sneaker store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Just do it.
Like,
you
imagine
have
if
to just try it.
If people walked out of Foot Locker or Champs and then there was a kiosk where they could get their shoes customized, or before they got to Foot Locker or Champs, they saw your stand and you had even cooler stuff than inside. So, something to consider. Sometimes at the mall, depending on a lot of different factors, you might not find the right clientele. You might not find people that want to spend $1,000 on shoes. You might find people that want to be in the $100 to $200 price range for shoes.
Yeah.
I would say that there's a really good chance that that's who you would find.
Absolutely.
That would be, So depending on the art style that you're doing, are you trying to do $1,000 pairs or are you trying to do $250 pairs?
Right.
Something to absolutely think about.
I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Jonathan says, I actually realized I said midsole, but I meant the inner liner of the shoe. So unfortunately, sometimes when you get red paint, like on a white sock liner, I mean, depending on how bad it is, depending on how thick the paint is, maybe if it was just a little bit airbrush overspray, maybe it's just a little dot here and there. Few things to try. Sometimes there's no saving it.
Yeah,
okay, sometimes it's not coming out. You can try to acetone it with a Q-tip. Okay, that's one thing to try. It might spread, make it worse. Some people like to try airbrush cleaner. Like I know Iwata airbrush cleaner with a Q-tip. Spread that. That might kind of work. Another thing to try. This is going to sound weird. Brittany found this one. Mix a little bit of white with some Too Soft as if you were painting the sock liner. Dip a Q-tip in acetone. Then dip the Q-tip in that paint mixture and apply that on top of that area. Okay, so what that actually does is when you mix paint with Too Soft, you almost create a little bit of a dye. It's not just paint. Paint sits on top of a surface, dye seeps into a surface. Paint and Too Soft creates a little bit of a dye, so it's going to seep in, not just sit on top. So when you put that onto the sock liner, with the acetone, it just really helps. The acetone makes it spread even more, even though it's just naturally seeping in. So it's worth a try as a last resort before you need to say, okay, cool, I just need to paint this sock liner and potentially incorporate a new color into my design.
We've been there. It sucks.
There. Absolutely.
But try all those things first.
Absolutely. Casey Cruz here says, when you put paint in an airbrush and use too thin, do you still have to use too hard? Okay, so I think that question's slightly reversed. Like if you were using too hard in your airbrush, would you need to use too thin? Because the way that you're asking it is anytime you use too thin, do you need to use too hard? And that answer is no. But I think the way that question might have intended to be asked is if I use too hard, do I still need to use too thin? So if you're using too hard in your airbrush, too hard will actually thicken up your paint mixture a little bit. So you do need to use a little bit of too thin if you want it to run through your airbrush. If you're ever painting something with too hard, I do recommend airbrushing it, because the way that, the mixture works, you're going to attract a lot more brush strokes if you tried painting a plastic by hand. So if you were painting the back tab of a Jordan 3 with too hard, you're going to see a lot of brush strokes if you do it by hand, even if you're good at painting. So it's better to airbrush it. And you're going to need a little bit of too thin to get that to run through your airbrush. But if you're using too soft, if you're airbrushing a sock liner, the too soft is going to thin out your paint. So you don't need any additional too thin when you're airbrushing, mixing together paint and too soft. But just the way you frame the question, do you need to use too hard every time you use too thin? No, because if you're just painting leather and you're using too hard, you don't need to use too hard also. So hopefully that one made a little bit of sense. Sammy Joe here says, Brittany, I love how hands-on you are with everything.
Oh, thanks. I try. Sometimes I always tell Dylan, like, I wonder if people really know how much I really do.
No.
They have no idea.
No. And that's the thing. I've never tried to present this as a one-man show. I've never tried.
Right.
I just happen to be the annoying one on camera.
And I'm not.
And people don't want to be on camera.
It's like pulling teeth to get me on here sometimes, because I'm just like, I can't. I don't want to.
So this has literally from day one never been a one-man show. Brittany was there the first day I painted a pair of shoes. Mm-hmm. My brother Daniel was there the first day I painted a pair of shoes.
Your mom.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of people helping along the way.
Yeah.
The mall is where Serato started out. Oh, very cool. I know that Mosh worked in a store also. I'm not sure if it was in the mall. I want to say it was, but when he got back into customizing and was doing it as a full-time thing, I believe it was in the mall. Somebody said your shirt is dope. Tell people about it. It's
F-bomb kind of mom. It's from this site called Sweet Teas, and it's literally just all t-shirts for moms.
Shout out to Sweet Teas.
Yeah,
Where'd you find out about them? Tell the people.
I was listening to a podcast called Baby Mama No Drama. It's from like the teen moms from MTV. It's a really cool podcast. And I heard this girl, she was on the podcast, and I'm like, I want to wear all mom t-shirts. So I bought like a bunch of them. So
Baby Mama No Drama.
Yeah, it's a really good podcast. It's about co-parenting. It doesn't really relate to me, but they talk about other things that are really relatable to like parenting too. So I really like them.
Shout out to Baby Mama No Drama and Sweet Teas.
Yeah, it's called Sweet Teas.
Like the stuff I drink?
Yeah, but it's Sweet T-E-E. Like teas. Like
teas, not T-E-A.
Yeah,
Gotcha. I see Taste of Affliction here says, do not use too hard in an airbrush. Yeah, I mean, too hard is absolutely, like I said, it thickens up your paint, so it very much can and will clog it. So yeah, I always just sort of say too, if you think you need to use too hard, you're probably painting something that shouldn't be painted at the end of the day. Plastics and rubbers, as much as the bottles may say, as much as you may see online, here, you can go ahead and paint this. That's something that still pretty likely should not be painted. That stuff's a lot more likely to crack, chip, rub off than your standard leather surfaces. So yeah. All right, guys, we will go 1 minute here. We'll answer one final question. One more good one. After this one, Oscar says, when is your wife going to do a roast video of your old work? That one's coming.
Oh, I want to do it so bad. I can't.
That one's coming.
So we have to do it. No, we have to do it. I want to do that.
Absolutely.
Because I want to go in on all your stuff. So.
We're filming that one soon. We are filming that one soon for sure.
Yeah, we've just been really busy with getting all the course stuff together, which we're so excited about.
Yep.
We hope that you guys can make it. 15 spots.
Yep.
April 22nd.
23, 24. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So save it. So just over 2 months from now. And so by the time we announce it, I think there will be 6 weeks once we fill up the spot. So we figured that was enough time to accommodate travel and stuff.
So you guys can prepare for that.
Yep.
And all the weird things you have to do to travel to get here.
Sure thing.
COVID, so.
Yep. Okay. All right. Let's answer one more here, and then we got to get up out of here.
There's so many.
Yeah, so many good ones. Sorry if we couldn't get to everything today, but again, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Do you have a how to use a stencil video? So Christopher, depending on what you mean by how to use a stencil, whether you're talking about, a vinyl stencil, how to cut them, how to make them, or maybe a reusable airbrush stencil, I'll sort of walk through both. But if I have to point somebody to one video on how to use vinyl stencils, because I walk through a little bit of the cutting process, the materials that I use, and then actually doing one, we have a video that's called like how to make a multi-layer stencil. There's the Marilyn Monroe painting on the thumbnail. I think that video is about 2 years old now. I think it's like a 30-minute video. I definitely recommend checking that one out. I will have an updated multi-layer stencil video coming within the next month or two. Really excited about that one because sometimes it's really cool for me to redo tutorials years down the line because I'm able to see a lot of the feedback. I'm able to see what questions did I not answer at all? What areas of the video did I skip past a little too quickly? What did I forget? Where could I shave time off? All those things. So it's going to be a good video, and I really challenged myself to do a really difficult multi-layer stencil for this video. So that's going to be a good one. But if you're just asking how to do, how to use a reusable airbrush stencil, we have a ton of videos on that. I think the one that I would probably recommend, a recent one, would be like I think it's called like Jordan 1 quick paint effects or something like that. I'm painting like an aquatic Jordan 1 low, so that video's from last year. Go and check that one out. I sort of walk through, my thought process for the stencil, how to use it, how to pick colors. There's another one called like how to spice up your customs with texture. From years ago, I'm doing like a Broly pair of cleats, and that one I walk through how to do some stencils and stuff. So check those out if you're interested. If you're just trying to learn about vinyl stencils in general, go to the YouTube page called Silhouette School. It might be Silhouette Studio School, but that's the company that makes the Silhouette cameos, and they have just like really great unboxing videos, opening the program for the first time, things like that. So definitely go and check that one out. So, all right, guys, that is going to do it for us. Really appreciate you guys tuning in for another episode of DCF Live here. Want to say thank you to Brittany for joining again, being on video. Yeah. Doing a live thing is not easy to do. You do a hell of a job. The people love you. The people want you back again already.
They just want me to roast you.
They're waiting for that one. We got to get that video up. So, 3 weeks in a row of doing lives. We're doing good here. We're doing good. I love doing these, and just being in a rhythm of trying to do them a lot is good. So wasn't able to get out a YouTube video earlier this week. Small chance I might have one out tomorrow, a Saturday upload. But if not, we'll definitely be back next week, probably Wednesday. So again, just want to say thank you to you guys. Hopefully everybody has a great, safe, happy, healthy weekend.
Have a good weekend, guys.
Yeah, hopefully you guys cook up something cool. And, as always, feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. If there's anything we could help you with along your journey, more than glad to do so. But again, just thank you guys for your continued support. So that's going to do it for us, guys.
Bye.
Take care. Ooh, I forgot that we have an outro now. Didn't have that before. Here we go. Say bye again.
Okay,
Bye-bye.